Every single person you've run into, every single person you know that hates their job.
Right.
That
Most people.
dreads getting up in the morning to go in.
Right. It's that rat race of the 9 to 5. When you started that little story there, that's what I do not want to be part of. You're waiting for someone else to do something. That's great. But then you're just a sheep. Yeah. You want to be a sheep?
No.
You have to have that superiority complex of saying, I am the one that's going to do this.
Yeah.
I am going to be the person that makes this money. So believe in yourself first, make these moves, make these changes, and go for it. So then you know what happened next? Now I'm sitting beside these guys on the trading floor, and wow, you just made $1,000.
It's a brand new episode, and I have something to say, Sean.
Oh, no. Like my new hat?
That was
Toronto Connect series.
That was not what I wanted to say, but
I was watching the Blue Jays game with my daughter, and she goes, wow, those are nice new hats.
Those uniforms are terrible, by the way.
Fine, I'll take the hat off, Brendan.
No. The actual like jersey with the city in the back. Anyways, here's what I want to say. We
told her I'd wear the hat.
Love the support across the board.
Wow.
We love the support that everyone's coming to watch. Brand new channel, brand new podcast, brand new episodes, brand new topics. We love the support, and thank you so much for coming over from the old podcast. Maybe you watch the live show every day on YouTube. Go subscribe to that as well. We wanted to expand. Mm-hmm. We wanted to reach further. We wanted to talk to more people. We wanted to expand the topicality of the episodes and who we were talking to in general.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be as technical. It's not going to be about individual charts. It's not going to be about trading per se. Yes, we'll talk a little bit about trading, but this is a broader lifestyle, finance, yes, investing, yes, but broader, expanding the topics.
Yeah, like different opportunities.
Different opportunities, exactly. But we wanted to just start things off by saying, we see the comments. We love that everyone's come over and watched these episodes. Thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah.
Hit subscribe down below if you haven't. But we wanted to expand across the board, I think is the best way to say it.
Yeah, I mean, and the idea too is that, future episodes bring guests in that have achieved a little bit of wealth.
What we're talking about.
Yeah, through different verticals, right?
Yeah.
Is whether or not you've done it through real estate, whether or not you've done it through some side hustles with trading, whether or not trading is your full-time job. Whatever it is, we're trying to bring everybody together and say, these are different opportunities that exist out there for guys like us and for everybody that's watching, regardless of your financial position or anything. There's been people, and most of the people that we know start from nothing, to be honest with you, and build it back up. So let's share some of those stories. Let's share some of those ideas. And yeah, we appreciate everybody coming through, but we wanted to sort of get to a newer audience and newer topics.
Exactly.
And I think that's the fun thing about the show.
And the best part about this is that we can explore more outside than we do on the live show that, some of you might be used to.
And it gives us just that personal touch too. Like we're going to be talking about stories. We're going to be, different ideas here.
Exactly.
That maybe on the show when we're trading live, we're more focused on our trades. Now we can talk about, some of broader topics.
How's the coffee?
The coffee's pretty good. I mean, I've switched over to almond milk.
Yep. It's a good choice. I just smashed
it's a little bit sweet.
I smashed an espresso.
I saw that. So I brought the coffee in here because you had an espresso, and I was like, okay. I'll grab a coffee, and then you just crushed it. Right. Now I feel like
I'm excited about this. We have a lot to talk about, and I'm excited for a few specific points that we're going to get into. One right off the bat, and that is some of the key traits for successful people, and some of the key traits this can be transferred from if you're trying to be a trader, if you're successful at being a trader. If you're trying to open, a barber shop,
right?
This can be transferred right across the entire spectrum of business. The first one that pops up on the list, I think, and we've touched on this a little bit already in prior episodes, but resilience. I love the concept of being someone who is resilient. And there's something we're going to talk about in a few minutes here that I really want to dive into more on this, but give me your perspective here from resilience first off when it comes to not only trading but just life in general.
Look, we're going to get to this in a minute as well, but whatever you're trying to do is going to be tough. Nothing is easy, really. I mean, it's whether or not you're trying to eat healthier, work out, trade, you're going to go through periods that you're not going to like what you're doing, or you're going to say, hey, this is too tough. This is not the path for me. This is not what I want to do. But Brendan, you have to be resilient, and you have to be able to withstand some of the pressures that are going to be coming at you at all times. And we can talk about trading, and it's just like fighting back after a bad trade, getting information from somebody that potentially is not true, and you're having to battle through that. Being resilient to people that tell you no. That's another thing. So many people will say, that's not a good idea. But you know what? It's your idea.
Yeah.
And if you believe in it, then be resilient in the face of distractions, in the face of negativity. It goes back to what we talked about before at the beginning of the last podcast. Get those thoughts out of here. Be resilient.
Yeah.
You know, find what you want to do and try to go for it. And don't just try, do it. You know, and then if and when you wind up failing, try again.
Yeah.
Look at why did you fail? To me, this is what resiliency is all about, and it's true in any business. I mean, even to the point where you can change paths. You know, stick the course and then figure out, oh, this is an obstacle, right? Then I'm going to just veer this way a little bit. But be resilient to those obstacles because you can overcome those.
Yeah, I think this comes down to you and I grew up in a time period, I think specifically, where we were brought up looking at failure as a negative.
Right.
We were brought up by parents who, you know, lived in generations before us that they were brought up looking at failure as a negative.
Mm-hmm.
Both of my parents grew up on farms.
Right.
So if they failed at growing a crop, you know, bringing, you know, cattle to a point where they could
food on the table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you end up not eating. So failure was always looked upon as a negative. I strongly disagree with that.
Me too.
From the sense that if you are not failing, you're not A, trying,
right,
and B, learning. And those are the two things that I think are so key in this point. And let's go back to the person at the barber shop. You know, I have a good friend who runs a barber shop.
I can tell what every day.
And how can someone...
His hair's always so clean.
How can someone who's running a barber shop...
Right.
Crazy busy.
Right.
Monday to Sunday. Doesn't matter what time of day it is.
Right.
Crazy busy. Hey, guess what? A pandemic comes along and just like
slaps
that,
you in the face.
Lights go out. So
I bet you that barber's lights were still on, just door was closed and blinds were pulled. That was my barber.
Or they were showing up in the back alley.
No, exactly. That's what it was. But you're right though. You know, coming into
it's resilience. Yeah,
coming into a problem and figuring it out. So it's funny that I say that, and many people know who my barber is. But the thing is like, sure, you do go in. You know, you say, hey, we're still open. You know, do you take the necessary precautions? Yes. But the idea behind that is that still keep pushing forward, and I think that's a great example about trying to figure out what's next, you know, and I think that when you're talking about trading and you're talking about trying to get that side hustle, yeah, people will always fail. And I feel that a dangerous person to deal with is somebody that's failed so much because of what you just said.
Right.
Maybe they don't have anything to lose. Maybe they have everything to lose. But at the end of the day, the fact is they're trying, and that's what you said. And you can fail on anything. But it's what's next. And if you keep pushing and show that resilience and show that sort of fortitude that you have passion to succeed, you're going to succeed. And I think that was a great example that you gave of your parents. And it's like, if you need to do something, you will do it.
Yep.
You will find a way to succeed. It's the people that have all the money in the world that say, you know what, I can just throw a couple $100,000 or $100 at this idea. And you know what? If it doesn't work, oh, well, we'll just move on because it doesn't really do any damage to me. That person, to me, all right, has a chance to succeed. It's the person that puts their last $100 into an idea that really has the opportunity to succeed. Why? Because if they fail, what else do they have?
Yeah.
So it gives them that extra motivation to go, go, go. And I think that that's the person that I'd like to be in business with. Sure, deep pockets are great at the end of the day. But it's more like, what can we do to push ourselves past limits that we're uncomfortable with? And if I'm investing $1,000 in something and then I have it's like what I said about Roaring Kitty the other day. When I look down and I see this guy has 30 million.
Already talking about Roaring Kitty?
No, but I think this is a good example because he's being resilient with his position here. And the thing is that when I look down and he has 30 million in the bank, I don't really feel as not sorry for the dude, but like if this GameStop position doesn't work out for him, he still got that money in the bank, right? I almost feel like the first time when his story was he's on his last 50,000 and he lost his job or whatever the story was. I was at the premiere of Dumb Money, but it's just like, then he became, all right, I got to do the due diligence. Is this something that can make me, as much money as I believe it can? And he went against everybody there. The short float was 70, 80, more than that percentage points, which was ridiculous. And he figured something out, Brendan.
Yeah.
But it was the desperation, in my opinion, that caused that, right?
And it makes it more attractive,
right?
From you and I, like, not maybe we're a bad example, but from the general public, it makes it more attractive from their perspective to then follow that.
Right, because he's one of you.
And say, this is a great story. Right. I believe in this too.
But we can all be the same story. It's just that was his vehicle.
Right.
Was through options and through trading. Other people's vehicles, and we just had a discussion here as well about putting money into this asset, that asset, and where do you take the risk? Right? Fortune favors the bold as far as risk-taking is concerned. And that can be true in many different avenues. And I just think that that's an example there of Roaring Kitty, and even true of your parents. I mean, my father came here on nothing as well, literally nothing. Like 2 years old, came to Canada. Parents didn't speak English. Obviously, he didn't speak English. He probably didn't even speak Italian at the time. But, came over here and then right into construction. You know what I mean? Like just the typical stuff, building roads. Like you look up Italians in Canada, that's what they were doing.
I mean, it's more too. I mean, my wife's parents were the same.
Right, yeah.
Coming from Greece.
Right, so it's like...
They didn't even speak the language.
And that's not even that long ago.
No.
Like, I know we're old, but we're talking about our parents.
But one generation.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just how much can change.
Yeah.
And that's why we talk about being able to come from something and then create something else. And I feel like that's such a huge benefit. And just look at all the examples, and we're going to go over more.
Yeah, we live in a time where, and I want to go back to that, if you're not trying, you're failing. And if you're not testing things, you're failing, because people are. The majority of people are. So if you find what you do well, you have to be able to then still expand on that and grow that.
You have to layer into it.
And layer into it. It's a great way to phrase it. And if you're not, people are going to pass you in this world we're in today.
There's unlimited amounts of ideas out there. But if you don't keep pursuing the ones that you feel passionate about, then someone else will either hop on the back of you that's maybe not even as passionate. They just see a great opportunity and you gave up on it.
And maybe have the resources to execute on that.
I mean, that's why we go back, and we're going to talk about this when we talk about sales. And I know we're still going to talk about some traits, but it's about just going after things and trying.
Yeah.
And throwing out as many shots as you possibly can until one eventually hits. Yeah. Right? But again, you got to be passionate about all these things. And that to me, and I know people that watch me trading and everything like that, and hopefully they can get the sense when we talk about some of the stuff that we do now and family life and all that. If you can find something that really drives you, then I feel like if you always have that, it's not like a weight on your shoulder, but it's kind of like something that's always there. Like when I make decisions, I'm thinking about how is this growing into my eventual retirement plan? How is this helping me get to that level?
Right.
I don't necessarily worry about, the shorter term goal is to make $500 today. That's not, I'm trying to go bigger and bigger and bigger. And that goes to being resilient on ideas that potentially don't work. You still got to stick with them in order to grow and grow and grow, because we can all make baby steps.
But I think it's a reaction from that as well. If you are testing, if you are trying, if you are throwing out new ideas and they are failing, what is your reaction to that? What are you taking from that? Are you
just folding,
curling up in a ball in your closet and saying, I don't like going outside? Or are you saying, okay, what did I learn? What can I take away from this? How can I adjust and evolve the actual product or whatever it is that you're attempting to do to make it better, to make it something that would be more appealing? Consistency, I think, is a natural next step in that. Be resilient. Find, what you do well. Evolve that through trying and testing different theories. Be consistent in your approach to do that.
Right.
Is the only way you're ever going to get results.
Yeah, consistency and dedication and time management, I think, right? You got to find enough hours in the day to do what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, then yeah, I mean, I think the sky is the limit. One thing that we didn't really talk too much about, I think you got to really, and it was to your point about staying on the direction, a very, very important trait I feel like is impulse control. Okay, and what I mean by that is having the ability to stay focused and stick to the ultimate plan that you have and not look left when you're supposed to be looking right. And I feel like that's sometimes what even the most successful people can sometimes lose a little bit of direction on that. And we've talked about this before, where me and you could both be heading in the same spot. You know, we're both pilots, you know, you're in your plane and we're both headed to Miami, you know, and it's like you're 1 degree off, but we're only a couple miles away. We'll both land on the runway. Okay. But if you start, you know, just railing off just a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees, then all of a sudden you're not at Miami in the destination at the end of the day. But you might have got distracted by something else, right? But the person that just keeps focused will get eventually to their goal. So I look at an example even in my own life there trading. Often, because we're on the show, I feel like there's people in the chat that are like, we need these big trades. We need these big trades. Like, where are more trades? And the success that I've seen recently is I already have the ideas and the trades that I want. I'm going to put those trades on. I'm going to let these trades fester, make some money, because I've put in the work. I know I want to be long or short a certain name. So I buy that stock and I hold on to it because my case is to be long and to own that stock. I'm going to hold that until it either gets me where I need to be or I'm stopped out, for example. I'm not looking at other trades until they approach.
But that also leads into, I think, a really good characteristic for most people, and that is being or having the ability to adapt.
Right.
Having the ability to say, I tried this, didn't work.
Right.
Here's what I took away from it. Let's adjust and continue a little bit different. And sometimes it's only a very, very slight adjustment that can, as you were saying, you know, correct your course per se to get you back to where you want to go. And it might be just, you know, to use our example of trading and being on the floor here on a day-to-day basis, it might just be something that's, you know, a shiny thing for a day for whatever reason. And everybody jumps over to that because it's the shiny, exciting thing.
It's GameStop.
But then you have to be able to adapt and say, you know what, I'm going to go back to what I know, what I trust, and what works.
Another important trait, and that's leading to this trait, is superiority.
Yeah.
It's you have to believe that you are basically the shit.
And you deserve to win.
You have to say, I don't really give, you know, about what that person's doing. I only care about what me and my team and I, is that proper English, are accomplishing. Because you often do get, and look, I mean, I love trading beside Neil, and we have a lot of traders on our floor. But at the end of the day, sure, I appreciate what he's doing and what a lot of
Everyone's
the traders
different.
Yeah. But the thing is like, you have to stay the course with what you're doing.
Sure.
And I just feel that if you don't believe in yourself, and I feel that this is very, very true, and that's why I say superiority complex. It's like if you ask Elon Musk, who is the smartest tech person or, you know, visionary of the last 50 years, he may put his hand up.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm fine with that. You know, he has sort of the credentials to do that. But he also believes in that. You know, and everybody has to start from somewhere. And if you don't believe that what you're doing is the best and you are going to create something new and you're going to succeed, you have to have that superiority complex of saying, I am the one that's going to do this.
Yeah.
I am going to be the person that makes this money. I'm the one trading this stock, and I don't care if you are, but I am doing it, and I'm going to get better every single day. So it's either basically shit or get off the pot because this is what I'm doing.
But that brings you back to a very, very easy out that I think a lot of people who are beginning, and it doesn't have to be about trading, but a lot of people who are just beginning in any business might attempt, whether it's, well, I'll use the barbershop, you know, analogy again, just because we were talking about it earlier, or an online business, marketing, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you see someone over here who is portraying themselves as being successful. If you see, www.iwin.com.
Let me guess, you own that one?
No.
Okay.
But if that website is succeeding in what you want to do, your first thought is always, well, I'm just going to do what they're doing.
Right.
And they can do it, so why can't I do it? But when you apply that on something, on a skill, and we're going to talk about hard and soft skills a little bit later, but on a skill that is more technical, more something that you learn and acquire over time, it doesn't apply to everyone. You can't just simply walk into a room and say, I'm just going to do what that guy's doing because he looks like he's, okay at it, and everything will be fine. You can't do that.
No. I mean, look, we can look at each other and say, Brendan's great at this, Sean is great at that. Yeah. But I think that's leveraging, again, sort of the traits. And we're going to get to networking. And I just think that that's very, very important as well. You're not just going to be able to go to iwin.com, like you just mentioned there, and say, I'm going to have ilose.com and just flip it around and be just as successful.
Right.
You have to know, again, I always go back to passion. And I said an example before about noticing online gambling, and we were doing this well before DraftKings and well before all of these apps. There's so much business and so much money floating around that there was a great opportunity to enter into that space. So we started developing a small little business that was like a handicapping business. Yeah. But I wasn't just, they were all over Twitter. There's tons of them, tons of websites. We weren't looking and saying, oh, let's do what that guy does. It was just like, hey, this is who we are. These are the sports that we like to watch. Mm-hmm. This is our specialty. And this is the format to which we are distributing our product.
Yeah.
If it works, great. We tweaked it back and forth. We even started accepting Bitcoins, stuff like that, as payment. And that worked out well because, again, you think about where can I make more money? And I said, if we accept Bitcoin as payment for some of these things, I'm already liking the crypto space. Now, all of a sudden, we can sort of ramp up our revenues by investing in something that we not only believe in, but it's helping our business grow because as, again, payment starts to grow and we start to make more money, as does the underlying asset with Bitcoin. So the next thing you know, now we have one business and kind of like another one as well, watching crypto go.
Yeah.
So sometimes, to your point, you don't know what sort of comes from all of your ideas. So if you are passionate about something, and then again, you can network it out and figure out, hey, maybe I'm not the one that codes the website, but we have a great idea. So let's go find somebody. And to your hard and soft skill point, let's find somebody that does that. When I can maximize maybe the idea generation and some of those other things, let me work on that. You work on this.
But that's also that adaptability.
Right.
And being able to assign different tasks to people that are the best at those tasks.
But I just think, like, if you don't get started, right? It's like if you don't have that passion to open up that business or to start with an idea, you don't know what eventually comes of it. Like, Amazon was a bookstore, Brandon. Now you can buy hair clippers there.
Now Elon Musk is telling Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, to go kick rocks.
Right.
Because that's the level he's at.
Yeah.
When it comes to, being resilient and being adaptable and being, the guy that just doesn't care at the end of the day because he has so much belief in the direction he's going and he has so much belief in the product and the vision. Kathy Wood came out this morning from ARK Invest. Anyone who doesn't know who that is, go look it up. And said Tesla's worth $3,100 per share. What is Tesla trading at today? 140 something, I want to say.
Yeah, 170.
Or
somebody flush the toilet. But the thing about that Kathy Wood comment there, Brendo, is convincing. I mean, have you watched her say her base case? I know you have.
No, 100%.
You see a podcast.
100%. And
whether or not you believe it is a reasonable target or not, she does.
Yeah.
And so who's going to get think about it.
Like, but it's a great example for that.
Right. Like, who's going to get the last laugh, though? Right? Like, if it starts ripping up, she's long and loves the stock or the coin. And she's also long on Bitcoin. So she loves Tesla. And for what reasons? It's laid out there.
Yeah.
As long as you can lay something out to me that you believe in, that you are passionate about, then I'm all on board for you. Because I think that if you trust the person and you know that they have hard work ethic and they have that sort of fire in their belly, I mean, I believe, I don't know if Tesla gets $3,100 or not. I mean,
split adjusted,
the freedom and wealth that might be sitting at this table if that happens.
Listen, I don't want to make this a debate about
no, but I think it's about her.
Tesla's value.
It's about her inferiority as a
sure. Yeah.
You know, she doesn't want to lose and doesn't like losing. So therefore is not only doubling down, but coming out today as Tesla's starting to go to the downside and saying, I believe in this company more now today than ever.
She said in that note, she said, I think there was a 0.3% chance going out to 2026.
Mm-hmm. That's not that far away.
That 3 years, 2.5, whatever, that Tesla will not launch a robo-taxi service between now and then. 0.3% chance will not.
So huge percent that they do.
Huge percent chance that between now and 2.5 years from now, you and I will be flying around Toronto in driverless robo-taxis.
Flying? Okay. Rolling around. I was like, oh my God.
Okay,
I get what you're saying.
I'll rephrase because
because we have those flying helicopters there.
let's not kid ourselves. No one's flying anywhere.
What do you think about that? Do you think that robotaxi is going to make a change?
I do, 100%. I think that's the business.
Right, we
for
talked
Tesla.
about this.
I don't think it's the cars at all. I think we all get to a point where, I mean, I live right downtown. I would love to see a day where I don't even need to own a car.
Right.
Because I can fall out of my building in the morning and there's a car waiting there for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's in a city environment, urban environment, density.
Right.
That's the ultimate situation.
I mean, I think we're close, but the problem is you still rely on humans because someone's still driving the car. Right?
Well,
it's like, will they show up? Did they pick up another fare?
This case that she's talking about is driverless.
Right.
Is complete
I
autonomy.
told you, I saw that. One of my friends in San Francisco was rolling around in a car with nobody in the car. And she's like putting on her makeup and looking around. But again, does that not go back to the point where Elon's not giving up?
And I think this leads to our next point.
He's also running Twitter and all that.
Exactly. And I think that leads to our next point really well. And I love the concept of life as a whole.
Me too.
Life as a whole is about selling.
Mm-hmm.
And these are two people, Elon Musk, Cathie Wood, who live this to a T.
Mm-hmm.
They are so all in. They are so committed to what they are doing. They don't even have to try, and they're just constantly selling what it is they believe in.
You seen Glenn Ross?
Yeah.
I mean, always be.
Always be. I actually had that written.
What? Oh my God. We both have those written down in our notes?
No, but it's true, right?
Oh, I mean, look, again, that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
You know, you always have to give your opinion and explain it.
Yeah.
And then close it.
Yeah.
You know, you never know who you're talking to is going to agree with you, want to get involved, potentially could help you fund one of these businesses of yours, want to work for you, want to help you out. If you're not always trying to sell who you are and what you believe in, then you don't believe in it strongly enough for yourself.
Right.
You know, there's one thing to have a conversation with somebody and understand their side of it, and I think that's important too. You can't just be pigeonholed and like think this is the way it is, and there's no doubt about that. We know people that are like that, right? And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have to be, as you said already, flexible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is your business. This is your idea. You know, explain why you're doing something and stick with it. Always be closing.
Yeah.
You never know. You know, we could send out thousands of emails like we did for this lead generation for our gambling business.
Sure.
How many people just say, nope, 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 you know? But it's that one person that signs up.
It's a numbers game.
And we used the example of the window cleaning the other day. You can go to thousands of businesses. Everyone says no, but someone will say yes. Yeah. And then when they say yes, someone's going to say, wow, that was a great job that you just did right there. I'm going to recommend you to
my neighbor, whoever. Across the street.
Brendan's barber.
Doesn't matter.
And the next
she's got a lot of glass.
There you go. So next thing you know, she's looking for, and then anyways, it goes.
Yeah.
But if you're not closing and you're not always saying to somebody, hey, look, I am the best window cleaner here, and I'm going to do it for probably the best price you've ever seen. And it's like convince, close.
Yeah. I think there's a bigger point here.
All right, let's do it.
And if you zoom out on life in general, I think a lot of people, it takes a lot of time and a lot of growth and maturity for people to get to a point. And I'm speaking from personal experience here.
Good.
I mean, it was probably about the time we started this venture, the live show, coming in here every day and understanding that when you're a part of something bigger, you have to be able to transfer that into your everyday life. And a lot of people get out of bed in the morning, go through the motions for 9 hours a day,
and then just go back to
and
bed.
then just rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And they're never in the mindset of how can I grow? How can I expand? How can I, move past this hurdle, this block that I seem to be in front of right now? And one of the ways you can do that is approach every situation. You have no idea who you're around, when you're around individual people that ultimately at the end of the day will end up helping you out. You just don't know. So take every opportunity to relay your message. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Be passionate about that thing and relay that message. Go find that next person who has, you don't know. For us, it was, my cousin's uncle, has a friend who works in broadcasting or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just about constantly being ready and capable to deliver that message so that you have the opportunity to expand.
I mean, I think it's to a fault. I mean, I've had you tell me, I've had lots of people tell me, stop thinking about everything so much.
Yeah.
And it can be a fault at some point because you're worried about everything around you and how can you improve and how can you get better when sometimes you have to focus yourself on an ultimate goal. But for me, it's that rat race of the 9 to 5. When you started that little story there, that's what I do not want to be part of. I do not want to wait. Like today, tonight I'm going and I am coaching 9 and 10-year-old Little League players. And I have a hell of a lot of fun doing that, and they know that I'm on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And they ask me what I do and I explain it to them, but at the same time, I'm also out here doing this because I'm also passionate about that. I coach 2 Little League teams and I'm always talking about the business. How can we expand it? But I'm also focused on other things as well. But my mind never stops. I'm always looking for more and more opportunities to the point where you and I have sat here, and that's part of what this podcast is all about.
Yeah.
What's another opportunity to get more information in front of people? How can we grow our business and help others? Because that's what we do on the show. It's worked for us.
It's just, I think it's personal growth even.
Every great leader has been a salesperson at some point. You have to sell. Elon Musk has to sell the idea of this crazy looking Model 3.
Yeah.
And now I look outside and everywhere I see is Model 3s.
Let me ask you a question. Every single person you've run into, every single person that hates their job.
Right.
That
most people.
Dreads getting up in the morning to go in.
Right.
What's the number one reason? Because I know what I've been told.
Right.
And that is they either have a manager or a manager of a manager or some sort of senior person that they're working under that they can't stand. They hate their job.
Right.
So therefore that message trickles down to that
your
person
too,
who then dreads getting up in the morning to go to work.
Yeah, I think people are always, that's the other thing too, they don't like who they work for. I mean, I think that's...
But that's the leadership part, right?
That's leadership. You want to work for a leader, not a manager.
Exactly.
You want to work for somebody that can show you the way, not tell you something, but explain something to you, lead you through sort of the direction that you're looking for. And I don't feel like more people need to speak, right? Like what we talked about, always be closing. If you don't like your job, figure out what you don't like about it and then try to change it.
Yeah.
If you don't like your boss, go maybe talk with them, find something that you have in common. And I feel like you can then expand through it. But the idea behind all of this, I feel like you could just, and I don't want to say be your own boss because that's so cliche, but at the end of the day, you can make those small incremental changes like you mentioned that, and even if you're waking up 9 to 5 every day and you're waking up and you're having your coffee, eating your, bagel and going to work and coming home and doing the same thing, wake up a half hour earlier and hit the treadmill.
Yeah.
Clear your mind. Maybe go to work with maybe a little bit of a clearer thought.
Yeah. 100%.
Maybe don't have that coffee. See how that reflects on your attitude.
Have the coffee.
Maybe don't do that.
Have the coffee.
I'm starting to have some matcha.
Definitely have the coffee.
We talked about that a little bit. But the idea is change something
so
that at the end of the day, your path is different.
Right.
Be that change yourself.
Yeah. Improve yourself.
Yeah, because If you're waiting for someone else to do something, that's great. But then you're just a sheep.
Yeah.
You want to be a sheep?
No.
Or you want to be a goat like Brendan is?
Never.
You know what I mean?
Goats stink.
They do, but at the end of the day, there has to be goats.
But to go back to your initial point, how much better is it to work for
Oh, right.
an Elon Musk,
Visionary,
a
right? That's what you
Kathy
want.
Wood, someone who believes so purely and so wholeheartedly in what they're doing and can relay that message down through the different levels of employees under them.
You want to talk about working for a leader. Elon Musk took no pay.
Yeah.
Right? And got rewarded in stock, which now he's having a problem getting.
$56 billion.
Is that not who you want to work for, though?
Yeah.
Somebody that says
$0.
Somebody that says, this is my business. I believe this is growing.
Yeah.
Get on my back and let's go.
Yeah.
And the thing is that person will also believe in you too.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you took the shot believing in them. So believe in yourself first, make these moves, make these changes, and go for it. You know, be a part of something. The reason why I talk about that Little League stuff too is the amount of people that I've met, not only through that, but through my daughter's competitive sports as well, and my son's golfing and he's chess. And you meet so many new people that are passionate about different things, and it's great to be around those people.
Yeah.
If you're just going home every day and sitting in front of the couch and I don't know what you're doing, which is fine. I mean, we all do that. I mean, we have days like that. But if you don't have something else in your life, it's going to feel empty.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're going to be like, oh, man, I got to go to work again. I'm never getting paid as much as I'm worth. You know, you ask something about what is the number one thing that people say? Sure, they don't like their boss.
Yeah.
I sort of got sidetracked with this. It's also that everybody always thinks they're underpaid.
Yeah.
What does that mean? When you're working for somebody, you're getting paid basically what they feel you're worth. Correct? I mean,
or the market, the overall market says you're worth. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, you could be looking at a website like Glassdoor or something like that and say, hey, the average computer engineer makes $150,000. How come this person's only offering me $100,000? Well, sometimes you deal with the cards that you're dealt.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you say you're worth more than that, that's fine. Always be closing.
Understand
Go into that interview
Yeah.
and say, I am worth this much money because of this.
Yeah.
If you're just going to be a yes man and stamp, yep, I'll take that, I'll take that, I'll take that. Sure, it might work for you. But then at some point, the complaining needs to turn into action.
Yeah.
And my brother, for example, he's been great. I've had him into trading before when I had my own office, day trading. I've been in many different businesses. He came through. He worked for me for 2 years. Made money, actually. So that's pretty good. Trading's tough. But then he found out that it wasn't for him. And I could tell that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a little too stressful for him. He didn't, you know, he's not, for example, he's not married, doesn't have kids, anything like that. So his sort of path was a little different than mine.
Well, that's fine.
And I talked to him, and he's like, you know what? I don't like the ups and downs of this kind of a road that is trading, that is owning your own business. So he's working for somebody now.
Yeah, and that's fine.
You know, and I talk to him all the time when we get together. It's like, all right, what's that next job that you're applying for? Always push forward.
Yeah.
Because the minute that you feel you're stuck in that concrete and you can't move, that's when you lose that passion. It sucks everything out of you.
Yeah.
Always look for something else.
Yeah.
Always look for something more. Always be closing.
I had a very similar conversation with my wife about this same topic, just going back a couple of days ago, and I won't get into detail, but it simply came down to the fact of if you're going into that meeting, if you're going into that conversation with your boss, for whatever reason, to ask for a raise, to tell them they're an idiot, and you can't stand can't stand coming into work.
Slow down on that with your boss
every single day. But no, but you get my point.
Yeah, of course.
Be prepared.
Right.
Go into that conversation with, here's the message that I want to get across.
Right.
So many people show up in an interview. I can't even tell you. So many people show up at an interview
and just expect everything
and have never even thought about what the hell they're going to say once they get in that chair across the table from you.
Right. It's like, what were you doing?
Go into that conversation with, I know exactly who I am, what I'm worth, and here is why. That confidence, just having that confidence will get you so much further.
You don't even have to. It's just preparation.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Knowing what you. So it is preparation, but it's also knowing what you want.
Yeah.
Why are you in that? Why are you in that interview?
Yeah.
You know, even if you feel that you are under, like maybe they're interviewing higher caliber, more educated, that you don't know what they're looking for. You know, always express who you are, Brendan, because if you have to pretend to be somebody else,
you have to be
man,
authentic. You
not
have
work.
to be authentic, 100%.
No, because I mean that's why we're doing the show.
Exactly. But from a higher perspective, from a life perspective, I think it's time that we reframe the way people look at that word sales and the way that people think about that word sales. Because I don't know about you, but if you're in a conversation with someone you've never met before and you say, hey, what do you do?
Right.
And they say,
I always ask them like, how's the weather and stuff.
maybe after that.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, what do you do? And they say, oh, I'm in sales.
Right.
Right away, we have this,
kind of, yeah, like
this like icky feeling almost.
Yeah, I didn't know if you're constipated there or not. Petite.
It's been a long
It's
day.
been a minute.
Yeah. No, but the point is, I think we
Too
can.
many eggs.
I think we can think about sales and selling
Right.
from always be open to opportunity. Always leave yourself open to opportunity. And like I was saying before, take every opportunity to talk to anyone and everyone who will listen about what your message is and communicate that message to them, because you never know who you're going to be in front of.
I mean, I hopped into a couple Ubers, and I've told this story many times, and they'll look back and they say, because I'm talking to my wife, or I actually talk to drivers all the time. Go get a coffee. I talk to those. I mean, talk to them.
Sure.
You know, this guy here at Tim Hortons knows who we are because he goes, oh, Sean, I see you on the show all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, my friend, and blah, blah, blah. Give me a free coffee. No, but it's just like.
Never. Never.
I'm trying to close. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trying to get something. But at the end of the day, yeah, you never know.
Talk
and
to
it's just
everyone.
and it's just like, because now all of a sudden, like when I get into that Uber and I'm talking to the guy and he looks back, he goes, oh my God, I recognize your voice or something like that. To me, that feels great. And then he starts talking to me and I start talking to him. And then he's like, oh man, like this is great to meet you. And I just feel that talking like that and understanding now from his side, because then I start to talk to him about, oh, what's it like being an Uber driver, and what's it? So now all of a sudden I'm getting a little bit smarter and seeing that side of the business.
Exactly.
You know, and saying that, oh, this is not just something that a stock you can invest in. This is the people behind this company. And then all of a sudden it's just like you meet new people, you get new ideas. And I feel like sales, although is it cringy? Yeah, I like sales as a fact that you don't necessarily have to be selling something. It's an attitude, isn't it? Like when you think about sales, do you think about aggressiveness? I do. I think that people are aggressive in sales. And I think those are the sales tactics that some kind can work.
Yeah.
But not too aggressive. You know,
and
know who your audience is.
Yeah.
I think that's important when you're talking about sales.
Yeah, this has changed, I think, and it is changing. Maybe
I think with the gig economy too, right?
It's different. It's more from our time and maybe even before our time, when you would have the guy knocking on your door trying to sell you whatever. That doesn't happen anymore.
No, yeah, when is the last time someone knocked on our door, actually? People don't do that anymore, do they?
I live in a building, so people can't get in, but it's that
People can get in.
concept. True. It's that concept, though, of always being pestered by, oh, you got to buy this, you got to buy this,
Right.
this is why you need this. But if we shift that mindset to self-improvement, to expanding your own horizons, you start to get a little bit of a different perspective on that word sales. Let's touch on some skills here, just to wrap things up. If you think about the terms hard skills versus soft skills, very quickly, to give a very easy definition of those two things: technical, personal, or as you said, networking. Anything that's communicating, anything that's interpersonal,
soft,
versus a technical skill.
Right.
So for traders, for example, understanding charts, understanding level 2, understanding, the financial sheet of a
balance sheet,
of a business, an earnings statement, whatever. The soft skills are going to be talking to that trading coach,
controlling your emotions,
controlling your emotions, talking to a psychologist, maybe, if that's something that you think you will benefit from. But being able to separate those two things, I think a lot of people have a huge problem doing, and then being able to say, I'm going to set an hour aside today and just focus on technical skills. And then I'm going to set this hour aside today and focus on soft skills and go and talk to this person. Go and, have a Zoom call with the psychologist. I think a lot of people are just constantly going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Is that good to do that, or you want to focus on one or the other?
I think in order to improve, regardless of what industry you're in, you have to be able to say, today, this hour, I'm going to focus on improving my technical side. Today, this hour, I'm going to focus on improving my soft skills side. And that's just an efficiency thing at the end of the day.
So the best combo you can have as a business person, in my opinion, is mastering both of those.
No, 100%.
And I think that that's the point.
Yeah.
What you're saying about spending some time on the hard and then some time on the soft skills, because at the end of the day, you have to put them both together.
Yeah.
And for me, my biggest success story is going to come from exactly doing that. I graduated university with just a bunch of soft skills, really. I mean, understanding, I took business in school, right? With a focus on finance. So sure, I knew about balance sheets and income statements and all that, but I didn't like accounting. So I never figured that would be one of the hard skills, would be me going through the sheets and saying, oh, look at that line item.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Depreciation. Oh my God. So that's cool for those that like that. For me, it was more about, and you can see what we're doing right here. It was more about building relationships and trying to get the gift of the gab.
Yeah.
People have said I have that, where we can go back and talk about things. And I understand the finance world, but I don't like to dig into it. I like to talk about it and figure these things out, communicate with leaders in the industry.
Yeah.
Those are the soft skills. But my biggest story comes from graduating university and seeing a job post that was looking for traders. I applied. I went. I had an interview. The guy goes, you're going to be trading on a floor. I said, great. Where's the money at? No money. You earn what you trade.
Right.
And if you're able to make money doing that, then you get paid. And the payouts are great. And here's an example of successful traders. I had to sit down there and all of a sudden now learn. We're not taught anything about trading in school. But you know what I did? I started befriending traders on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I found out who the best traders were on the floor, Brendan.
Yeah. And this goes back to what we were
Guess
talking
who
about
I had
earlier.
lunch with? Guess who I went back and had a drink with in their apartment as they were playing NHL 94. It's not that long ago. That was one of my favorite games.
Was that black and white?
That was one of my favorite games on the Sega Genesis, because you could do that wraparound goal.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
We're dating ourselves.
I don't care. But those were the people.
Yeah.
I didn't even, I didn't have like a Super Nintendo or whatever, but I sat there, watched these guys play, and got involved and befriended them. So then you know what happened next? Now I'm sitting beside these guys on the trading floor, and wow, you just made $1,000. Well, guess what? The guy's like, you didn't make that? I'm like, no. Next time, do it. So then all of a sudden, just me being social with these guys, all of a sudden, strategies are leaking over to me.
Yeah.
I was hired with 20 people. Only 2 of us ever graduated, ever made money. So I learned the hard skills of data input, like making the trades. What trades am I looking for and why am I looking for them? That part's easy. We can all go there and hit the buy button. We can open up a business. Any of us can go file right now. It's, what is it, $50?
Yeah.
You get a business, $80?
Yeah.
You get a business registration number from the government. Open your business, start selling, doing whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if you're not talking to people about these ideas,
building that
network out, you're not going to be successful. So long story short, I feel like this is an important thing to discuss, because I sat on that floor knowing nothing, built up the hard technical skills of trading, was able to make a little bit of money trading. But when I made that big, huge leap and managed to make the number that no one even makes in 6 or 8 months, I made that in my first month. You know why? Because I went home that day when they told me there's no money. And my hardworking Italian father goes, are you out of your goddamn mind? You know, we just put in all this effort and all this money into going to university. And we had all of these thoughts of, oh, you're going to graduate university. You're going to come out of there. You're going to get this sick job. You're going to just be everything. And I thought the same thing too. Dad, I just had an interview. Guess what? Oh, great. Oh, it's a trading job. Oh, that's great. How much you even say 6 figures? What's the story here? Oh, nothing. So instantly he goes, forget about that. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And I said, Dad, give me a couple months. You know, and then let me have this.
That's the drive.
Let me have this discussion with you.
Yeah.
In a couple months.
Yeah.
1 month later, good idea, Sean.
Yeah.
The point is that I believed in myself, the ability to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I took the risk to do this. Once I was there, I realized I needed more. Started talking, socializing, getting more ideas, because the success rate is slim for trading. And I knew that going into this thing. So I had to do something different than everybody else. When 20 of us are hired and I'm the only one doing these things, instantly I knew this was probably for me. And then snowball after that, baby, because then I understood the business. I started working with the company, started becoming a manager, was the manager of the Toronto floor at 23 or 24 years old. What? I've only been trading for a year and knew nothing about it. But I had the skills to talk the talk, walk the walk, and ultimately drive the ship. And that's led to so many more opportunities. But it all started from me taking a risk on nothing.
Yep.
Zero.
I think one of the biggest lessons, and if anyone can take anything away from this, is understand that it doesn't even have to be about trading, but understand that regardless of the situation you find yourself in, having those personal skills, having those communication skills, having the conversation skills will always come into play.
Yeah, and I think they trump. I think the soft skills trump the hard skills at some point.
At some point. But being able to, you're going to find yourself in that boardroom, in a meeting that, you're bored out of your mind, but understanding the messaging that's coming through and being able to effectively communicate the overall goal is a soft skill. And perfecting that along with, as you were saying, hard skills is at the end of the day what everyone needs to strive for. I think it's a good place to.
I also wanted to say too. I mean, I know we're going to wrap this up, but the other thing too is if you don't have that combination, that's fine. There's also outsourcing, right? And that's why we talk about continuously being social and continuously looking outside, because there could be someone out there that can take your idea to that next level that potentially you're not thinking about. And if you need, it's like Zuckerberg there, he had, I forget her name. She's gone now.
Carol Sandburg.
But so she was the boardroom. Like he's kind of this geeky guy that had this idea. Cheryl. About Cheryl. Right?
Cheryl.
Yeah. That had this idea about a book of faces. Right? And all of a sudden at university, they're sitting there. You saw the movie?
Yeah.
They're sitting there and they're just joining. Hey, I want to be friends with you, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, it's millions and millions of people all aboard this thing. But does he know how to sit in a boardroom?
$1 billion, I think, now.
Now.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Right, I'm giving the story at the beginning.
Okay, go.
It's now called Meta, actually. The idea here is that he didn't have that experience. He had probably the technical, the hard skill
coding,
of developing, coding, having the idea, and having the passion to work in the garages, into giving up school and going for something more. But then he needed to find those other aspects to bring in, the money from Wall Street, to bring in that board presence so that when he's sitting there in front of investors, he can have somebody that will say, hey, look, this is the value proposition of Book of Faces, and moving forward like that. So as we go, I think this is a great spot to wrap it up. But at the same time, we covered so many wicked things in this.
This was a great one. A lot of good.
We're just going to get better. Like, this podcast is literally ramping up.
A lot of usable knowledge, I think. And
I have so much more to talk about.
And that's the point. Let's leave them wanting more.
Really? Is that what we're going to do?
Let's get out of here.
We're out of here.
All
wow.
Right,
podcast number 3. That's a wrap, Brendan. Bye-bye.